for the good characters, I definitely think Ganon is like a good character and pretty underrated. We saw how Narrow's Ganon made that won all 3 turn matches against Light. Ganon's obviously do good online, but that's a different topic altogether. I think Ganon's probably the best heavy, depending on where your cutoff for heavy is. His neutral is like a huge hitbox. It's like way bigger than you expect it to be. Like just throw it nairs in neutral and just throw it nairs on edge guarding. You'll notice the nair has like way more range, including in between the legs where the hitbox shouldn't even exist. It will suck you up and hit you anyway. It will just beat everything. In the worst case, it'll trade, but generally it's ridiculous. He can just space moves on shield, and it's safe. He can forward smash your shield, and it's safe, unless it's point-blank range. Like, there's a lot he has. You can't really camp him that hard. Like, obviously you can camp him in Edgeguarding, but his recovery and Edgeguarding aren't even that bad. He's basically just, like, better Incineroar. He's basically stronger Incineroar, faster Incineroar, recovery Incineroar. It's kind of sad, but that's kind of how I think it is. The next would be Belmont's. I think Belmont's could be pretty good. They're probably even better than this, but it's hard to say that without the results. Their ledge trapping is like super god tier, kind of like King Dedede. You just throw the fire at the ledge so that it beats normal stand and ledge get up attack. So, and it also beats ledge jumps. So the only consistent option you can do is like ledge roll into them, but that's like so obvious. So it's like they know you're gonna ledge roll into them. So it's like you don't want to do the obvious option. But it's like they make it so that's the only good option. They can, using conditioning and whatnot, they can be really good. And in neutral, they just keep throwing stuff. Oh, and they can down tilt and then do the 2-hit down tilt to mix you up on shield, and then press the A button at any moment to do the second kick. And just reset neutral again. Oh, I'm in a bad spot. Better up at a shield or roll the shield or down tilt and with the second hit at a random time. This is how Salem gets away a lot of the time in neutral. I feel like they could be top tier if you master them completely. Yeah, I feel like they have potential to be top tier if they're fully mastered. They're definitely a good character. I'd definitely put them above average. After this, I put besides Lucina, who's I consider a great character, I'd put the good characters. I don't know how to order them exactly, but I'd say Roy, then Crumb, then Marth. I feel like they're not too far apart, although very different, of course. I put Marth the worst simply because I find him inconsistent. He's basically worse Lucina. Maybe the gap isn't even that big. I'm not sure. But I just find Tippers unreliable. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. Zero thinks this too. Other Morphs think this. Even MKLeo, who's like perfect at spacing, as main Morph in Smash 4 forever, he also thinks this. So we're all thinking that it's just unreliable to the point that like the reward you get for the Tipper isn't worth the times you don't get the Tipper. There's little reason to use Morph over Lucina. You do have like down air into Tipper F Smash and whatnot. But again, I'd say the pros don't outweigh the cons. Like normally Morph's a character that, like if you fully master him, in theory he should be better than Lucina. But his weak hits just never kill. Without up throw killing, without jab to side B, you're basically just playing a gamble. Like you could be fighting someone that you're clearly better than, but you just barely missed the Tippers even if you feel like you should have got them. And now they're living to like 180 for no reason, and then you just lose even if you're the better player. And if you're a good player, you don't want to deal with like randomly losing just because you barely missed a Tipper that you were almost positive you get anyway. If you play Morph a lot, you'll understand what I mean. I put Roy above Chrom mainly because of recovery. I think, okay, so let me give you an example. In the Peach versus Chrom matchup, no matter how Chrom mixes up the up B, he has to die from Toad. Peach, as long as Chrom cannot double jump into an air dodge and grab ledge with the horizontal, the air dodge, if he cannot double jump in an air dodge to the ledge and is forced to use up B, you can turn off your brain, press the B button to use Toad. Every single spacing mix-up loses to Toad and you die instantly. Now, let's take Lucina versus Chrom. You said counter's still effective, but Chrom can do a middle height where you activate the counter, but then you go over it, and then she counters, and then it misses, and then you swipe her down, get some damage, and now she's above you, and then, or you can do a super perfect sweet spot and do it. So there's like 2 different ways to up B to mix up Lucina. There are 0 ways to mix up Peach if you don't have the air dodge. And that's just one example. There's a lot of characters. I feel like the meta for like the Chrom, his main weakness is gonna be that up B. Some characters are just gonna, once you learn to deal with it, some characters are just gonna be having good answers, but also on the flip side, some characters might not. But yeah, that is something that I'm worried about. Otherwise, I think Chrom could be like top tier if he had like the Morph Lucina up B, but he does not have that. And Roy, slightly better recovery than Chrom. Although on the flip side, you're not going to get KOs as easy because of the tippers. Sometimes people live to 190, but sometimes it could be about 100. There's some variance. I mainly think it comes down to the uppy difference. That's the main reason I put Roy higher. But if you're fighting a matchup that like, oh, they're not gonna edgeguard Chrom. This character sucks at edgeguarding Chrom. Then Chrom's probably better in those matchups. Link and Young Link, I'm not sure the order. I just have them next to each other. I think they're next, and I think they're quite good because they have a bunch of projectiles, which means if you don't approach them, they can always play a defensive game. Basically, defense is just better than offense, whether you want to believe it or not. Like if at super top level play, it's having projectiles is just an advantage. Like if the other Fire Emblem characters had like Link projectiles, they'd be like god tier because they would never have to approach while also maintain the up close advantage. Basically, Link's good because he's mainly amazing because of his bombs. Like, oh, both characters have a good up B to shield. It's worth mentioning. Actually, Morph, Chrom, Roy, Link, and Young Link all have a great up B to shield. But the bombs that Link has is really good because you can edge guard like characters that you normally can't edge guard. Like even the old King K rules up B, which you couldn't edge guard, you could just throw a bomb down and edge guard him. You can, as I said in even my demo tier list when I theory crafted it, it's still true. You can just use the bomb to edge guard, but you can also use it to like do pressure. Link can actually landing nair to like grab you before you can grab him. Like he has a lot of crazy up close stuff where you're like forced to either parry or roll away if you don't have a super fast out of shield option. He has some good stuff. Young Link is more about like instead of bombs, he's more about like bombs are good for ledge trap and specific combos, but he's bigger on the boom like dash ray boomerang into like fire arrow stuff. Like Young Link's pretty much the arrow Link. Like Young Link's all about the arrow, and he has a much better recovery, but he's also on the flip side he's significantly weaker. Tweak's been getting some good results of Young Link. Salem's been getting good results of Link. Too early to say which one's better. Whichever one's better, I don't think they're significantly far apart. I think they're both good characters. Yoshi got amazing on Wi-Fi, but offline, he just feels like an above-average character. Obviously, everyone's like, oh, Yoshi has his quote potential, but the results don't like quite match that. But I definitely think he's an above-average character, which is why I have him over here. Basically, he has like a good fast nair to shield. He has some projectiles, good recovery, super armor. He can go. He can move really fast in the air, kind of like the opposite of the melee double jump, where he didn't move as fast in the air. He's just pretty solid. Not too much to say. Mega Man used to be like super insanely broken, like ultra omega broken when he had like the pellets into the leaf shield that like combos into itself from like a safe neutral. But now that that's gone, that hurts him a lot. But I still think having all his other tools, mainly the fact that you can like hit them from such a distance, I feel like that's still really good. Now, apparently Japan thinks very highly of them too. Leaf Shield's still probably his best move, although not as obnoxious as before since you can't combo it off pellets for free now. It's still a really, really good option though. Like you can use it to get off ledge, to land. Just a lot of situations you can just use Leaf Shield, and if it's safe, and even if it's actually not that unsafe, because Salem showed and Scat showed me that you can like if you think they're if you see them block it, instead of just dashing away and jumping to a platform, which may or may not get you away, you can actually just footstool off them and get really far away. So Leaf Shield is something you want to spam with him. And Yeti also has some good results as well. PacMan, borderline great character, I think. He has a lot going for him. I think he got mostly buffs to last game. Like I felt like he was pretty decent before, and with a lot of his threats nerfed, he seems like he's even better now relatively. He also has some pretty decent results from both Japan and America PacMans. He has a bunch of projectiles. If you don't approach him, he gets all the fruits. Now the fruits, he goes through them like twice as fast as before or something. They do a little less damage, but you can get the fruits you want much quicker, which is, in my opinion, more of a buff than a nerf, although it's a trade-off. I feel like he got buffed more than nerfed due to these types of things. Obviously, if he's in air, throw the fire hydrant down. He has good recovery, good edge guarding, good neutral. You always have to approach him. He just seems solid overall. Next, I'd have Lucas and Ness. If I had to pick which one is better, I'd probably say Ness because Ness has better results. People like Best Ness, Austin, Foe, etc. He has some good results, and that's really important. He's really strong. Good nair to shield. Down smash at the ledge. He just has a lot going for him. Lucas, MK Leo, and Salem both believe Lucas is better than Ness, but Lucas has worse results. So to compromise, Ness has better results. Lucas is better in theory craft, according to them. Oh yeah, another thing to mention. I think Lucas actually has a winning matchup on Wolf, specifically. And the reason I think this is because a lot of Wolf's neutral is to use the blaster. But Ness can... actually Ness and Lucas can both do this. They could just absorb it and heal like 12 damage or something every time they absorb it. And it's a really fast absorption. And then Lucas can like just camp him out with his own fair and narrow the shield if you touch his shield. Lucas can actually just out-camp him instead of the other way around. And another thing is, on characters with bad recovery, Salem's done this to me before, just throw them off the stage, specifically time PK freeze in a certain way that covers a recovery option. And if you don't have a good recovery, then he can like force 50-50s and stuff. You just have to watch the stuff Salem does. Like I played Salem and Mikos. I played some top Lucas stuff, so I know like what top level Theorycraft Lucas can do. And he's kind of, again, characters like Ness and Lucas, obviously the fact that they have a down B, kind of like the Game Watch thing where they're better against projectile-based characters. Ness and Lucas are better against characters who rely on their energy gun to win neutral. So if you rely on like an energy-based projectile to win neutral, then Ness and Lucas are like extra good against you. But if you don't have that as like your game plan, then they're not going to be as good against you. So in a way, you could kind of say they're like a counterpick type character, kind of like a better version of Game Watch in a way, I think. Both have good nairs at the shield too, but yeah. The fact that one of their main moves is absorbing energy, they can negate certain characters' neutrals. Like, they can be good against Palutena in that aspect. They can be good against Wolf in that aspect. Those are just, like, 2 examples. Ike, I put in great, mainly because of MK Leo's results. But this is where I wanted to talk about. I think MK Leo is just the best player, period. And I think Tweak is just the second best player, period, at least at this particular point in time. The end of Smash 4 was showing Leo is the best, Tweak is the second best, and they both were top level of multiple characters. In Ultimate, that seems to be the exact same thing so far, where Leo is number 1 and uses many characters great, Tweak is number 2 and uses many characters great. So I have to figure, I can't put him too high, because I have to put him high because he has good results, but at the same time, I also have to be like, well, he's just a better player. In addition to that, like, this guy won 2 Genesises in a row with Morph Cloud, mostly Morph, Genesis 3 and Genesis 4, without even losing a set. Then at the more recent Genesis, or whatever, maybe I got the numbers wrong. Maybe it was 4 and 5. But and the most recent Genesis, he still won Genesis, although he lost a set this time to Sam Sora and then won the run back. The point is, he's just the best player, and I think he's going to carry the characters. So I have to look, oh, okay, MK Leo has this result of this character. That shows what the character can do. Now what's the next, is any of our players doing it? Or is it just him? And I look at these factors too, and I'm like, oh, there's a big gap after that. But again, I do, not to take away from Ike, I do think Ike is a great character. But when I look at the characters above him, I actually think are better than him. So now the characters I think are even better than him, one that may surprise you is Mario. I've changed my opinion on Mario recently after playing Dark Wizzy for many hours, talking to him about Theorycraft, learning what the top level Mario looks like, what he can do for making one read. For example, he can like double up air you into like a spike, and that just kills you most of the time. Depending on the character and the situation, it can kill from like 30% depending on where he catches you. He has a frame 3 up at a shield, which is 2 frames faster than even Morph and Lucine's up at a shield, by the way, just for reference. A normal shield grab is either 10 frames or later after the shield's done. Imagine having a frame 3 out of shield option. And it buffers too. You can't even Tomahawk grab him. You'd have to like Tomahawk, which is like empty land, by the way, and into shield. So Mario's really, really good up close. If Mario had more range, he could be like a sword level range. He'd be like the best in the game because that's his only flaw. He has amazing recovery. He has amazing gimps. He's amazing in doubles. Amazing out of shield. Only range is his weakness. If you learn the combos, the entire combo tree, you can actually kill combo depending on the character. That's better against like the heavy characters. But I think he's quite good and very underrated at the moment. The Pokemon Trainer after that, I think Pokemon Trainer is amazing because Ivysaur is obnoxious. Razor Leaf is like one of the most broken projectiles. You can just keep doing it over and over. There's no limit. So you just might as well keep spamming it, especially if you have the lead. If they don't DI away, if they approach you and then they miss DI or DI in, it easily combos. So if you're approaching them, make sure to like DI it at least, or just try not to get hit. They can combo off it with forward airs, up airs. They can grab you. He can grab you in between like 60 to 100 or whatever based on like the matchup and the character and whatnot. They can like down throw you into up B. The up air hitbox is enormous. The down air hitbox is enormous. Ivysaur like has the best edge guarding in the entire game based on the character, if just fast fall in there or down airs, changing Pokemon. one frame escape option, so things like Inkling up throw up air, which only like barely doesn't work by like one frame, they get out of. They have that mix up. They don't have to do it every time, but they can buffer the Pokemon switch as a mix up. Charizard's obviously worse than them. Oh, it's Squirtle can do like grab you at 0, down throw, down air, re-grab, and then do down throw up airs into forward airs and whatnot. Depending on your character, it can do major damage. My Bowser's been like 0 to 50 before, just from like true combo. And you go Ivysaur and just camp him out until the finishing blow. And keep winning neutral while having good kill power. They have a lot of tools going for them. And I would definitely say that they're one of the great characters, in my opinion. As long as you master the character. That's what I think.